we are live, and we are live on our series, right? Where I'm bringing you all these yellow people to come and share with you. Yellow people like me that I work with. So, of course, I don't know if you do not know or you know that we have the the number one team lead of the Intentional Parent Academy. Augustine is here. For those of you who hear Augustine, somebody said to me that I've heard it. So those days I used to just say Augustine, and then even in the live session, somebody said, so that's how I got to know Augustine. And somehow, especially since I've started hearing Top Bear, we'll bring it Top Bear on Monday. And I'm sure that he's wondering what's happening, but he will be right. It will be all right. So today we are talking about the fear of missing out among peers. And because we started this series where we're bringing you, different people, ideas. Augustine, are you a Gen Z? You are now, even though you claim that you are not. But we're bringing you, the younger generation who will come and share with you the different details, the different things that is happening um, when it comes to conversations around peers, conversation around sex. And recently, so we've had a face Nachi. Just Nachi was, her session was quite hilarious. In fact, I was still thinking about it the other day, and I was having a conversation with my daughter, and I remembered some of the things that she said. You can catch the series up on our YouTube channel. And we also had Chinedu yesterday. Chinedu shared very interesting, concept. Chinedu was talking about how the older people in your life can actually expose you to these, sexual conversations without you even knowing that that's exactly what's been happening. All right. And that's, where we had that conversation, the other day. All right. And so today we're going to be having Mr. Augustine share with us. He said what he wants to share with us is about the fear of missing out among peers. So recently we created the book called Sexual Reputation Culture. So that means there was something about what it is that happens among peers and among children at that age and all of that. If you're just joining us and this is your first time, say hello. If this is your first time, right, tell us where you're joining us from. All right, whether you're coming in the first time or the second time, whatever time. And if you are joining us for the first time, put a halo in it. A halo will help us to recognize that you're a new bit, start, very, very, interesting, and tag someone to come and listen to this conversation today. Now, we're talking about sex conversations. A lot happen in our families. Now, we've moved from what happens in the families. Ife Nachi was talking about how she went to her mom, told her mom that she saw a condom. Her mom added her in prayer point. Yesterday, Chinedu said the same thing. The mother will cover you in prayer. Is there something about covering in prayer? God, did you have the same? Did you have the same until? Were you covered in prayer too?
Well, it's an African thing actually, where whenever they mention sex conversation, it's always very funny. But one thing I usually say, or one thing I've grown to understand, is that this sex stuff happens, right? But we are usually shy away from talking about it. Okay, it's like somebody that eats apple, for instance, right? You don't want people to know that you eat apple because of this smell that comes with eating apple. So you go out there to
the way you're pronouncing apple like you really eat it a lot. And Augustine is not equal.
No, I'm a private person. I eat apple a lot.
Okay, that's true. You guys eat apple a lot. Okay, yes.
So it's like going out there.
But do you guys call it apple?
No, we call it fufu.
Okay.
Yes. So it's like going out there to buy the fufu or apple, so to say, because you don't want people around to know that you eat this thing. You decide to, look for a way, to cover it. Okay, meeting the woman selling the apple, be like, okay, madam, I want to buy a fermented, manifold esculenta.
What is the issue? What's happening here?
When you say something like, you're trying to subtly cover up what you eat inside, right? Mm-hmm. Now, this sex stuff happened, but parents are shy to, look at it in the face and say, look, this is what this is. Now, for instance, when we were growing up, they say when we want to pee, the way we were taught, right? They will not say, okay, the penis is used for peeing. They will call it pee. Now, before you call this thing pee, we already know the name. So it's just the house that, the names, is being, manipulated kind of. But when we go out there, we hear people say, not people, our peers saying this thing, look, this is how this thing is called. So the thing also stems from a place of you don't want to, take away their innocence. Look, before you even think of taking away their innocence, the innocence is already gone. Yes. They already, it's just that you don't want to say it. You don't want to say, but when we go out there, these things happen a lot. Now, I'll tell you a story. I grew up in a barracks, right? Now, in the barracks, we have somebody in charge of they call them chaplains. The chaplains, those are the pastors or the whatever religion that is in the barrack at that moment.
Okay.
Now, something happened. One of those days, we usually say, when our own parents, maybe we were just, we're not pastors people per se, but something happened when they brought the case to the provost that a pastor, the chaplains, right, the daughter got involved in sexual acts. Let me not paint it. Let me just say it as how it was. Now, the striking part of the story was that when they asked her, she said, okay, she heard it from peers, from group of friends. So when she, as a chaplain, first of all must be in the military barracks, you must be a soldier, of course they have soldier pastors, imams and all that. The same thing in the police barracks and all that. So, and of course the ministerial stuff is there. A pastor is a pastor, be it whatever you are, military, police. So the discipline is always there. But one thing they failed to tell the girl, they used to tell us that we know, where you're coming from. They assume that we know they're coming from a Christian family, a religious family, generally, you should automatically know this thing is wrong or this one is right. Now, we also go out with the assumption that people that are not of the same faith with us, they come up with their own ideology. Look, this is what is happening. Have you seen this? Have you seen this thing? So it comes like it's enticing. You want to go and see what is happening there, only for you to go and find out this is what is actually happening. But nobody told me about this thing. But because of the background, right, we now feel as if we're supposed to know. Now, I tried one thing one day. We went for an holiday. When I came back, my mates, my peers that were just little children, they were developing muscles, right? They were even more muscular than I am. They were
How old were you?
We were 11,
oh, wow.
right? Just age group kind of. So people were beginning to develop muscles. People were beginning to have mustache. Seriously. So I was like, we just went on a long vacation, July to September. How far? What happened now? Am I missing something? Now they said that there's something I am not getting. I said, okay, I really want to get that thing. What is it? Now I was told a story. A hemp, Indian hemp, this thing they smoke, right? They said when you grind that thing, when you whether you smoke it, but when you burn it and get the ashes, you rub it on your cheek. Now it's called post puberty. That's what I call it. Because what caused this thing was actually that girls of that age range, from my own discovery, girls of that age range, if I'm 11 and a girl is 11, that girl will never date me. And what business do I have with dating at that point?
Exactly.
But it happened that there was a system, right, whereby girls of the same age with boys will never date boys of the same age. So these boys were, at that time, again, it brings us back to the fear of telling these people. Because when it comes to sex combination with boys, parents shy away a lot. That's why in virginity today, virginity is attributed largely to the girl child.
I agree.
So the boy child is just there. What about, what happened to the male femininity? I mean, virginity. What happened to that? So it also, boils down to that fact whereby, okay, the guy will now say, okay, as early as possible, things happen, hormonal changes happen, but nobody talks about it. To the boys, I come from a family of 5, just one girl. We have 4 boys and 1 girl. So, where I would say I was maybe passive. I used to hear my mother telling my sister, don't do this, so don't do this. So. Should be giving her all the, sexual advice, what to do and what not to do. We were just there. Nobody cared. Nobody actually, because they assume, or maybe they believe that as guys now, we will find our way. But finding our way, we shall find our way, but finding our way will not be the same way as telling us this thing from the inside, right? Things will happen. So, on the long run, you find out that boys' virginity is not even being considered. So when you look at it again, one day I was passing by, I heard my mommy advising my sister, don't do this, so don't do. And when this conversation had been had, they used to chase the boys. Say we should go out and just go out, just don't be around. All right. So if you'll be curious, at least what is that they're telling her that they're not telling us? Let's just go and
hear.
Job and no, when you hear somebody, this time now come out and say, okay, this is what he said, this is what he said. Now, one day I said I should go and ask my own. Because from what I heard from the age mate, from the guys, is it really true? Because I don't know where they got their information from. Maybe they are from the same place like me, where they are not told. Probably they got it from another group of friends, and the thing was circulating, was going around. You don't know who this your child meets, right? You don't know the orientation, the background they are coming from. So they pick, if you're not saying it, somebody is there saying it. So I call it when in the house. So, okay, I still let me go and ask this thing. When I asked, my mom didn't tell me. Because of course, officers, they don't, especially the father, they are not always around, right? Mother then told me, look.
But your mom was also an officer.
Yes, but as a mother, you
of course it's more
with the children.
Okay.
But it's the father that usually transferring, moved. So my mommy told me, look, this thing you are saying now, when your father comes back, we'll say it again. Once she said, I just said, no, don't worry, don't say it. Because I knew what was waiting, right? I knew what was waiting. I could stay then. I don't know for now. Maybe the whole thing has changed. I don't know. But then our parents were, I would call them sexual tormentors. They were not our mentors. Once you raised any issue pertaining
they would
to
torment
sex,
you.
They would torment you.
You either held that prayer point
or there's this thing they used to say, like you ask one question, you get 5 basketballs.
I
like
know.
Ask you one, get 5 free. Next time you will never try it again. If you were me, would you try it again? The first time you asked, it was not funny. Either the turning stick, or slippers,
held on you,
or broom,
Lord,
or broom, right? Anything that once the thing touches you, you will not think of asking such question again. So these are just so whenever the idea comes into mind, I'll just have this to the attempt, Israel kind of. Let everybody just day their day. You understand? So, but we go out there, we go to school, we go to playgrounds, go to places to mingle with people that are coming from the same place. It's usually boys, it's a boys' circle, right? It happened that maybe girls are having their own discussion, saying how.
So this Indian hemp that they recommended, yes. Did you try it?
No, I did not try. Maybe that is why I'm not having the stars now. I did not try it though, because one thing I heard once you mentioned Indian again. One thing about sex conversation, our parents believe sex conversation is just about the sex, the vaginal, but drugs, that part is completely all right. So once I heard Indian, of course they told us then that Indian hemp, it will knock your head, it will make you go crazy, it will do a whole lot of things. So once I heard Indian hemp,
since you were in the barracks, exactly. It was a conversation that came up.
Exactly. And just like some children of ministers, officers' children, of course, they're expecting to be well behaved. Because if not for anything, for who your parents are, staying in the barracks, but the reverse is usually the case. I'm telling you. So you feel every day we're bringing people to the provost. Every day, who's your father? Who's your parents? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? In fact, at some point, they just made a rule. Once you are 18, leave the barracks. Don't stay there again. Because any other going to do, any other parents are going to do, just find your way out. Just find your way. Go and walk, go to school, just leave the barracks, all right? Because it was terrible. All right. So when this thing keep up, once I heard Igbo Indian hemp, I just had to face the other side. I just knew it was not for me. But of course, whether it's talk about, I'm telling you from what I saw, my age mates, they were having muscle, they were becoming even more muscular than us. They started engaging themselves in stuff that they shouldn't be engaging themselves at that age. Just to feel
to become more attractive to the girls.
Exactly.
And what business does an 11-year-old have with a girl really?
Now, erection starts even earlier than 11.
Exactly. And I think that's where parents miss it. Exactly. They think that you're 11, you should not be having sexual thoughts, or you should not have anything in your body.
This is how it happens. If you're 11 years old is not having an erection, you should see a doctor.
Yeah,
there's a problem.
Truly.
Erection even starts earlier than that. And once that starts, you need to quickly step in and tell the person, look, these body changes will occur, right? And when this happens, this is what you should do. This is what you should do. Because as it's always the case, if you don't say these things, then maybe you just go. Now it's not even like that. We don't even need friends. The information is just
it's just everywhere. You don't need friends.
You don't need anybody to even tell you, all right? So these are just the discussion. But it still boils down to the fact that if fathers, for instance, The only thing our fathers then used was, the rod, as you call it. Once they mentioned this thing will be reported to your father, just mark yourself X. You are done for.
But did that stop you guys from trying things?
No, it never stopped. That's the thing. Because the only thing is, this report is usually in the house. You don't follow us outside. Once you go out there, we mix with those people. The only thing is, we have a way of,
Covering it up.
covering it up, always being ahead, right? Now, the thing is even worse now because we are in an age where even I don't even know how to put it. Even the gadget, you might think it's just what is it called for doing assignments and all that. Don't worry. Now there's a video I saw. So the kids, but they place the phone at the back of the door like this. So when the parent open the door from outside, they will push the thing like this. So the video and the phone goes like this. So they now pretend as if they are sleeping. Once you close the door back, they're watching directly from the back of the door. So this is how smart these people have become, right? So deep down, you might just think, okay, you've come, you've seen, you've not even checked. And funny enough, they have smartphones. So smartphone now can even be their friends. The only thing that during our time, we just have a group of friends where we go out, do these things together and all that.
Of course, but there were phones in your time.
There were phones, but
it wasn't as popular.
It wasn't. Personally, before they gave me that, it was Motorola. Motorola then. But even at that was me. But the things I saw was not from my phone, it was from other people's phones. So one person will not see back. There's no fun in seeing the whole thing alone. You need a clip, right?
Did you just say there's no fun in seeing it alone?
No, it's like watching football, right? When you watch it, but I watch football in my house alone, but when you go to a viewing center, it's another atmosphere entirely because you meet in group. So you always need people to be around for the thing to be very, very enjoyable. So as you're watching, something's entering your brain.
Yeah.
As you're watching, so taking me back to my story, those guys then, they were not guys, they were boys. Were they even boys? Well, those children then, they forced their puberty to also meet up with it. Because even the girls as at that period, they would just say, your colleague that you guys went to the holiday together, only for you to come back, somebody's pregnant. What happened? How?
Oh, wow.
How? So it happened that the boys master, they were also interested to know exactly what is happening. Now, when the funny thing is that when they bring them for report, they also call the parents of the boy that impregnated the girl to come. So you now come and say, even you like this. No. Now, you now create a feeling that you are being left out, that you are missing something, right? So at the end of the day, it's now left for you to go and seek your own. What did I miss? What did I not do? Or this guy now, I used to tell this guy I like Hannah, but she never looked my side. Is it because I'm not tall? Is it because I don't have mustache and all that? So these things pushes these people to doing one thing or the other just to feel among. And at the end of the day, it's always a disaster. It brings whatever you can think of, shame, and imagine a daughter or let's just say children of senior officer. At that point, they believe your father must have trained you well. It's a belief in code, it's a belief. They believe your father must have trained you well, they must have given you all the orientation. How can you do something like this?
So we're talking about the barracks, and I got really interested because we have on one side people who keep the laws, law enforcement agents, right? And the barracks is the same everywhere. Police barracks, army barracks, children who grew up in barracks always are very, radical and all of that. And I always ask, is that the major thing in the barracks? Peer pressure?
Now, peer pressure in the barrack, in the barrack, even barrack, they have their school, they have everything. A barrack is a community
exactly
on its own. They have their school, their hospital. So children that don't really go out to do anything. So what they do, whatever is being obtainable outside the barrack is in the barracks there. They have everything, they have the system, they have whatever it is, the peer pressure that you will find outside the barrack is right there inside the barracks. It's still the same people you will see, but the only difference is that while they, forget the normal initial gra, but a whole lot of things happens there. Again, it's just the profession that distinguishes the barracks people and the civilian world. But everything, the orientation is the same. If, for instance, a civilian father wakes up, goes out, pays no attention to whatever is happening, it's even worse when it comes to the
barracks
people.
System.
It's even worse because the father this month may be in Meduguri, this month may be in Sokoto, and all that. So the only thing you hear the mother say, listen, if you've committed the most heinous crime, so to say, They'll say when your father comes. Because they believe once they mention your father, and of course, once your father comes back.
Since your father is either a soldier or a policeman,
exactly.
I go kill you.
He go kill you. So once they mention that, you just have to prepare your mind. So next time, you won't even wait to go and report yourself. You won't wait to the point of
You will look for an escape route so that they won't catch you.
At all. So it's now, I will ask you again, if you were me and I reported the last one, it didn't end well, would you report again? I will not do. So that I know how the thing used to end. So the system is the same. So if the preaching goes both ways, whatever you are is the same thing that you get if you don't do what you're supposed to do, honestly speaking.
So it doesn't even matter whether you're a pastor, it doesn't matter whether you're a soldier, it doesn't matter who you are. Parenting is parenting. It's blanket. In fact, I say that parenting is an equalizer. So when people come into the inner circle, I say, I don't care who you are. Whether you're a Jew, whether you are the president, we are all on an equal ground. And what makes us equal is that we are all struggling with the same things. Parenting. And the struggles are real. One of the things that when Augustine was talking, that I picked out was the fact that there were no open conversations about this thing. And he said something very key. Girls were told, oh, keep yourself and all of that, even though that is another kind of wrong kind of sex conversation. But boys were not even told anything. Boys were told, were assumed to just believe that, see, this thing, you're going to find a way. And they usually will find a way. So imagine a boy telling you, oh, I feel this. And I do not think parents think that boys feel anything sexual. Now, I said something recently. I said the fact that you have raised your child in the way of the Lord does not mean your child will not have sexuality now. Sexuality is what God created. And if you do not, if you do not help your children direct it properly, if you don't help your children direct sexuality properly, it will end up like every, it doesn't matter how much you have prayed. So there is a training of, okay, this sexuality. The first thing to recognize when you come to sex conversation with your children is that your child is a sexual being. Somebody just help me put that in the comment section. Your child is a sexual being. It does not matter who you're raising. In fact, if your child does not exhibit those sexuality, then there's something wrong somewhere. So you write, my child is the sexual being. That's the truth. It doesn't matter what you think. Oh, should they be thinking about sex at this age? What are you talking about? Sex should not be. I agree with you. But you're the one that will actually help your child to actually begin to put those things and say, okay, your sexuality is not to be activated at this point. Your sexuality is not for now. This is what you use your sexuality for. That's how it works. Because one of the biggest challenges we have is that our children do not have direction. Because there's a lot of assumptions around these conversations, right? And I think for the boy child, it makes it worse. For the boy child, yesterday Chinedu was sharing. She said, nobody told me anything. All I needed to do was see my elder brothers, having girlfriends, having sex with them. I just learned what to do. And that's how I just started. So, and he said, if somebody had told me that this is how I can use my sexuality and what I need to do with it, I wouldn't have found myself here. So your silence puts your children in more trouble. The more silent you are, the more your child will struggle with their sexuality. Somebody help me put that in the comment section. The more silent, because sexuality is there. God has created. You know that when a child is born, when a girl child is born is born with all the eggs complete on the day the child is born. So God is intentional about the sexuality of a child, of a human being from day one. From day one. Somebody is asking, if you have questions, you can drop in the comment section. And if you have not invited someone here, please share this link, invite someone, and get them in. Somebody is asking, at what age do we start having the conversation? Yesterday, Chinedu was saying, he said, as soon as I have my child, because that's one of the things I have learned working here. One of the things I teach is that you start sex conversation the day you have your child. You know why? Because sex conversation is not about the mechanics of sex. Somebody help me write that again. Sex conversation is not about the mechanics of sex. See, if you make sex conversation about the mechanics of sex, you will miss the idea. For instance, the reason we have quite a number of men who cheat and do not have self-control is a matter of self-control. They are uncultured sexuality. They are not bad men. They just have parents who failed them to culture their sexuality. And how do you begin to teach self-control? You begin to, all right? Somebody said, please, simple grammar. I'm trying to put it in simple grammar. You begin to culture sexuality from day one. Yeah. And how do you culture it? Begin self-control is taught from day one. Yes. Identity is taught from day one. So you begin to culture the sexuality of your child. The problem is that we don't culture it. We assume that the child just wakes up. When my child is 13, when the child is 13, it's already late. When your child is 5, you are getting late. So if you're listening to us and you're not having these conversations at all, you need to get into sex educate your child like a pro challenge. This challenge is already taking off. So we created 2 guides for you to be able to start to have these conversations immediately. 2 of them, the sexual molestation guide, right? And that's 100 ways your child can be abused without being touched and what you can do about it. And the second one is the sexual reputation guide. Because of this thing that Augustine shared, that's why we created the sexual reputation guide. Now, he said something. He said the reputation around where I grew up is that you needed to, even at 11, put yourself in a certain kind of way so that you can attract the girls. Tell me, why is an 11-year-old attracting a girl? It's because sexuality is sexuality in human beings, right? But it needs to be cultured. Don't be deceived. And Augustine was saying something. He said, even before the child is 11, the child already had their sexuality up and up. So the child starts having erection earlier than you can imagine. So it's just the body saying, we're okay, we're normal. There's something wrong with us. And no, it's not a sin for a child to have an erection. Dear mothers, dear fathers. No, the child is not having to think about anything. But if you do not culture it, then it becomes a problem. Now, you see where the problem really is. The problem is not in the that you need to now do this. And so that's why we do sex educate your child like a pro challenge every year. And the team has said sexuality must be cultured. If not, wildness and craziness everywhere. And it's true. It becomes wild. You don't want your child to become wild. See, if you do not know how to use your sexuality, that's when you sleep around. That's when you flip pennies into every vagina or you receive pennies everywhere, whatever it is, because you do not understand the power of the sexuality we're talking about. So if you've not registered for Sex Educate Your Child like a pro challenge, you want to register now and you haven't been there. You're already in getting the people around you, because this thing Augustine shared now is about the culture of a place. Remember, the culture of a place. And the culture of a place is a big deal. Yesterday, I was teaching the parents in the inner circle, and I was talking about social culture. If you do not pay attention to friends, conversations around friends, and these are the things we're teaching. So we're not teaching you when you come to Sex Educate Your Child like a pro, you just learn, and this is how sex is done. If your sex conversation is about sex itself, you have missed the lesson. Somebody help me write that in the comment section. If your sex conversation is about sex itself, the lesson is lost on you and your child. Because that's not what it's about. Sex is the last thing, is the last resort. Are you following me? Are you getting value? If you are, let me see you share the fire emojis right in the comment section, and let me see you tag someone to join this conversation this morning. Believe you me, there are a lot of things about the blind spot about sex conversation that we never get to talk about, right? We have Augustine right in the building, and Augustine is the team lead of the Intentional Parent Academy team. And yes, we are learning from his experience. We have been bringing, different people to actually share experiences, the team members to actually share experiences about sex conversations. And if you're still in the place where you're telling your children, don't let anybody touch your private part. Who is guilty? Don't let anybody touch your private part. Don't let anybody touch your. If you're guilty of this statement, you're wrong. You're wrong. So somebody is saying, can you recap what Mr. Augustine said? Don't worry. Mr. Augustine is still here. He's still going to share some of the things that he shared. So one more question before I actually let Augustine, but I want to catch replay, Tosa. One more thing that I want to find out is, as you grew older, how did the things you learned shape your sexuality as a person?
Okay, as I grew older, after the whole thing I saw when we left the barrack and all that, it happened that I still hear people talking about. The truth is, even the things we were asked not to do, even the things we were blocked for, being shamed for, all those things, those were just a way of saying, okay, don't do this thing. And if you do this thing, these are the consequences, like immediate consequences that did not even yield the long-term results. All right. So even after then, like I said, of course, if you flog us, if you flog me, then personally, if you flog me, then I'll take it and go. But the truth is, I will not come back, because that thing does not end that same day. I'll go out there, I'll still meet the same people, maybe another set of people, the conversation continues.
Yeah.
But I will not be able to come back and say, look, I have heard something new this time, because of the experience I had the last time. So what happened is that I will just go with it. It will not be left for me to use my own what I feel exactly to decipher, okay, should I go the same way or not the same way? But luckily for me, growing up to this stage I am, I would say that I was able to quickly say, no, this is not the way to go. But how many people are lucky to say that? Maybe some of them that will always discover that, okay, this is the wrong way before they discover it's already late. So it means that there is work to be done. Talk to them as early as you can, because as you are leaving that space, somebody is feeling it. Not somebody, could be anything, but something is definitely feeling it.
Yeah.
So why not be the first person to feel that gap? Why not be the first person to stand in between? Like I said, in my own time, it was, I would say, they tormented us. They were not mentoring us per se, right? Now, thanks to just as everything is evolving, we also have a mentorship system where even if as a parent, maybe you cannot do this thing because of one engagement or the other, we have systems in place where you can say, okay, let this boy be in a mentoring place where this thing will be said as raw
and reinforced.
They should get to hear it from a trusted adult, right? That maybe for whatever reasons, the things you cannot say. Now, one good thing is in our sex educate, we will now, because one thing I discovered is the fear of how do I say it? How do I say sex? Sex is sex. Now, how best do they say it? It's like that. So you have to, it's just, I don't know, in the court of law, when somebody's being called there, they bring, no matter how educated you are, they'll bring somebody to come and interpret it in the language you understand. Maybe you don't want to call it sex, but that's what it is. You call it in a language that the person you're talking to will understand, and tell the person, look, this is how this thing is, this is how it is. Because like I said, if you don't say it, so in fact they already know. It's just that you are behind.
Yeah, do you think you do? You don't know.
They already know. So while you are trying to say, okay, this thing is, you are trying to look for a better name for it, you already know the way the thing is. In fact, most time they're already practicing it. So you are coming late. That's what it means. You are coming late. So it's a wake-up call, right? If you are a parent of a toddler, you have an advantage, kind of.
Yes.
But if you're already parenting teens and teenagers, you are on a long run. I am telling you that they are way ahead
of you.
But programs like this helps you too. When you come, you listen, you hear exactly how it could also be trauma. The things we heard, okay, we were not told we grow up with that and we pass it down and the thing keeps. So the essence is to stop right there and relearn it. All right. You stop right there and relearn it. But so relearning it, the next time you can look the person in the eye. Are they not your children? Why are you not saying it? Look them in the eye and say, look, this thing, this is how it is. It will definitely happen, right? And if it happened and when it happened,
this is how you should react.
All right? Because definitely you're not talking, somebody's talking, something is talking. So be the first person to talk.
Awesome.
Be the first person to do the work. Right?
So be the first person to talk. If you're not talking, dear parents, somebody's talking, something is talking. So why not be the first person to do the talking? We're going to let Augustine go and then we wrap up with, the lessons I have for you for this conversation. Thank you so much, Augustine, for being here. It's been an amazing time with you. And if you're just joining me, all right, I had Augustine. Augustine has been the team lead of the TIP Academy for 5 years. Yes, you heard me right. And yes, we brought Mr. Augustine to actually share with you the details of what it is that happened to him growing up. And he said, see, the truth of the matter is like you, a father, a single mother, you have a boy child, come and learn what you should do. Come and learn how you can also put your child in a system that actually helps them to put a lot of things in place. Come and learn to be the first mention. Would you rather your child learns about sex from someone else than to learn it about you? Research has proven that children who learn or who heard about sex conversations in their home actually make better choices for sex. Yes, you might actually tell to us, oh, they didn't tell me anything, but I survived, like Augustine, right? We say, but survival, most of the people who say they survived masturbated, watched porn, and and that's the same case with Augustine, with everybody who is actually in that survival mode, right? Some of us who got married as virgins, technically, you're a virgin, you're not. You've watched porn, you're masturbating, you're technical virgins. Am I speaking your mind? Am I speaking your mind? So you find out that thing was still there. The fact that you didn't get to the end doesn't really make it any different, right? So we need to get into the place where we understand that this thing is beyond just, oh, yes, I have now gotten here and it didn't happen to me. So therefore, and have you also thought about the effect that did to you since your parents didn't say anything to you? That's an important aspect. And that's why we're hosting the Sex Educate Your Child Like a Pro. Tag your friends here. So Sex Educate Your Child Like a Pro 5.0, right, is going up now. And you get to pay $6,999 instead of $15,999, which is the original price. And you just don't pay. You actually get a whole lot just by paying. You get the digital molestation guide, 100 digital ways your child can be abused and how you can prevent it. If you pay today, you get access to that guide today. You get the sexual reputation culture, 100 sexual pressures children face today and how you can help them. How can you help them today? You get the third guide called Helping Your Child Navigate Their First Crush. For parents who are 5-year-olds, my first crush was when I was 6. I've shared that before. I was 6 at my first crush, and I even remember the guy's name. I still talk about it every day, right? And nobody taught me anything about crush. Nobody, directed me. I was 6. So if you're thinking that because your child is, young, you don't really need to say anything, it's going to actually hit you like a tsunami. You wake up one day and things happen. In the recent times, I've had a lot of cases of parents. All right. In the recent times, we had somebody said, oh, I caught that one of the things that made her join the Intentional Parents Academy last year was that she saw her 5-year trying to put his penis into her 1-year-old sister. Oh, that thing broke me. And I said, the problem is not the child. An adult in the life of that child failed him. The child is not an abuser. I hope you know that. The child is not an abuser. The person who is supposed to guide that child has done a poor job. That's just it. And the person who's guiding that child should be blamed. unfortunately, most of the times, we don't bother. We don't bother with things like that. So a child is 5, and then you beat the child because the child is trying to do that thing that is wrong. If you're beating a child for doing that, you have even failed the child a second time. Because a child is as confused. Like, what am I supposed to do this? Is it that the child has been exposed to see what they do not need to do? The child do not understand what should happen to them. If you teach a child about abuse, the child will know. The other day I created 10 skills every child must note before they turn 13 to avoid abuse. I posted it on my social media handles. A parent came to me, a 10-year-old was abused by a cousin. When she came to me, I asked the questions. Among the 10 skills, this girl had none. Oh, so sad. And I'm going to name those 10 skills in this class now, so that at least you'll be able to actually have access and begin to think about it. This girl had none of the skills. 10 qualities. Number 1 is body confidence. A child who knows their body parts, feels ownership over them, is less likely to be manipulated. So help me put that in the comments. Body confidence. That's skill number 1. I'll teach you the 10 skills quickly and I will go. Number 2 is assertiveness. Children must be able to say no to you confidently. If they are not allowed to say no to you, they will not be able to say no to anybody outside of the home. No is a complete statement. So you must teach your children that you are allowed to say no when something feels wrong. Assertiveness. Most children who are being molested are not assertive, and it's a big problem. Number 3, voice freedom. If your child cannot talk freely at home, they will stay silent when it matters the most. You must create an atmosphere where your child can say anything without fear that they're going to be punished. And we're going to be, teaching you about these skills and what you're going to be doing with them, as a sex educate your child like a pro challenge. Emotional confidence, emotional intelligence, boundaries awareness, personal safe. Do you know that there are safe secrets, there are surprises? You must teach your children the difference between safe secrets and surprises. There are safe secrets. This is something that you must intentionally teach. Number 6 is digital wisdom. So in that book, Digital Molestation, I talked about digital wisdom. Children must know how to handle online chats. You cannot say, it's not when your child turns 18 that you start teaching them how to handle chats. You start now even before you hand them over a phone. Digital wisdom is a big deal. How do they chat with strangers? You must teach them about grooming. You must teach them about fake friendship. You must teach them about digital footprint. Most of our young people do not understand digital footprint in the today, and it's an error and it's a failure of parenting. It's a parenting failure. If you're not registered for Sex Educate Your Child Like a Pro, I want you to put yes in the comment section now, so that a team member reaches out to you. You pay $6,999 only. That's all you need to pay. And you get all of this right now, and you begin to actually learn what to do. You need to teach your children about grooming. You need to teach your children about what happens in digital space. We live in a digital world. You cannot run away from it. Number 7, you need to teach them decision-making skills. Most of our children can't make decisions. They can't think for themselves. They are less likely to follow harmful pressures if they can think for themselves. What do you think? We have 6-year-olds. Let me tell you an example of decision making, and let me tell you a very, serious example about this conversation that we often miss, right? So a child that is 6, you're still picking what it is that they will wear. It's an error. It's an error. And you need to actually begin to think about the things, the choices you're making on a daily basis for your child. Why are you picking up a cloth, right, for the child? Somebody is asking, what if their father is not cooperating? Ma, go and read the story of Abigail and Nabal. That's your answer. If you read that story, then you understand what it means that you need to save your family and your lineage when there is trouble. You need to find a way. Father is not cooperating. Do the work until the father gets to understand what it means to do the work. So decision making is one key thing. So I wrote the book, Raising the Girl with Sense. And I shared in this book how you can teach your girls how to make decisions. Do you know that one of the biggest problems we have with raising the girl child is that we raise girl children who cannot make thoughtful decisions for themselves. And that's why our girls marry. You see a girl who has plenty sense marrying an anefulefu. Why do you think so? We don't teach our children to actually make choices. So what if the girls' advances to boys are more these days? Oh yes, and because boys are not trained for attention management, is a thing. So once they touch your boy, their body melts. You know, I'm looking at my team members. I have 4 men in the room. And I'm sure that if a girl comes on you now, you're probably just going to just follow the girl. Am I correct? Somebody is shaking his head vigorously. Stevie, I'm asking them now. I'm in the office. I have men in the office. Am I correct? Chinedu? Aha! Chinedu is the most sincere team member that I have. Chinedu said, yes, ma. You know, a girl comes to you and just does like this. Attention management is something we're not teaching our men. We're not teaching our boys. So once a boy sees a girl flip their bum on top of their face, they are gone. They are gone. Girls will come now. What are you talking about? I remember one of those days, they were just in my house, and I was hearing one of my friend's son, who was in SS3 at the time, talking about how in 9th class, a girl was sweating for them. Yeah, secondary school girls. And I said, you know, I remember my husband saying to him, he said, you must learn to manage the attention that girls give you. If you're not teaching this to your children, you think it's about, hey, don't go have sex. Your son can be righteous, not have sex, not do anything. Not, but one girl will just come rub his head. What happened to Samson? Samson's head was rubbed. Samson just came and said, please endow me. He forgot that he was a child of promise. Boom! Samson went, heads on. And that was it. That's how Samson's head got lost. Why? Because somebody somewhere probably didn't teach him how to manage those attentions. So if you have a son who is succumb, because he will succumb if you don't teach them. Attention management, both for girls and for boys. Somebody's asking, how do we get your books? You can send a message to, us. Just put books and somebody will reach out to you for our books. So I wrote this book. Somebody is asking, is it only girls? I wrote book, Raising the Boys You Don't Need to Bail Out. Raising the Boy You Don't Need to Bail Out is about the system where we're just bailing out our children and just, our sons especially. See, if you get into sex educate your child like a pro, which we're starting on the 30th of this month, just a few more days. But the good news is, if you join sex educate your child like a pro today, we give you a replay today that you can watch and begin to fire from there. Because unfortunately, these things are there. They are real. Your son, girls are going to come onto your son. Boys are going to come onto your girls. You are not going to save everybody in the world. Why not begin now to actually teach your children? This is what you do to manage this attention. This is what you do to deal with these things. This is what must be done. We're not teaching what must be done. The problem is that we are constantly telling our children what should never be done. Nobody says what should be done. And that's what Sex Educate Your Child Like a Pro is about. We will teach you how to say it, when to say it, and how you can say it. And where. Because what you're saying to a 2-year-old is not the same thing you're going to say to a 10-year-old. It's not the same thing you're going to say to a 15-year-old. All right? Somebody's asking, where do we get your books? Just put books in the comment. A team member will just send you a chat, or you can just follow Books by Wendy Ologi and send it here. If you're watching us on YouTube, you can just send details and get us, send all of the details and send, to the team, and you can also get, our books. Our books are also available on Amazon. So we must begin to turn our parenting different. We are going to do it differently, because I have come to realize that most of the times our parenting is all choked up in things that we are assuming. There's a lot of assumption in our parenting, unfortunately. Unfortunately. So what do you think? Thinking. See, if you raise children who cannot think, you actually will predispose them to abuse. Quote me anywhere. If you raise children who can't think, you will predispose them to abuse. And let me say this, abuse is not about when you are a child only. There are people in marriages who are being abused, even sexually, who can't say anything. It's the same skills you need as a child that you need as an adult. The unfortunate thing is that a child is actually more vulnerable than an adult is. That's just it. It's just more vulnerable. It's just more vulnerable than an adult is. So you want to actually begin to think about the things that you're doing. See, don't assume that your children, oh, my child doesn't know anything about sex, I don't want to expose them. Sex conversation, again, is not about the mechanics of sex. It's about every other thing about sex that we have refused to talk about. Now we've refused to talk about. We're talking about then number 8, stronger inner values. Your children need identity. See, identity is a sex conversation. So I have Sex Educate Your Child Like a Pro in volume 1 to 4, right? What we're doing now is 5. Sex Educate Your Child Like a Pro books, volume 1 to 4. I've written 4 books on sex conversations. Now, one thing that I've realized is that sex conversation is a very robust topic. So when people say, oh, I went to one class, they taught me private parts, public parts, where not to touch, where to touch, that is wrong education. I tell you why. Because when you say private part and public part, you disempower your child. You know, like when you tell your children that stranger is danger, it's disempowering to teach that. See, most of the things we teach are disempowering more than they empower our children. So you say, don't touch your public part. So it means that my hand is the public part. So when somebody touches my hand, even though this person is sexualizing me, yeah, it is my public part. Every single part of your body, a child's body, is private to them. Somebody help me put that in the comment section. Did you tag anyone to come for this? To do this for this fire ministry, Friday fire ministry? Oh, by the way, we are starting the TIP Fathers Conference today. You know, the team is all geared up, ready. We're having Pastor Kumaya, right? And you know, Pastor Kumaya is the Master's Place Church, the GO of the Master's Place Church. Is starting this conference today. It's going to be amazing. Come and learn. Fathers Conference is free, and we are putting it out there for every single father who can hear us. Come and learn. See, parenting is learned. We're not here screaming like this because we just want to just come out and just, no. Parenting is learned. That's why it's called parenting. It's learned. It's a learned process. The problem is we don't really parent. That's one of the biggest problems that we have. All right? We're not really parenting. If you have not tagged anybody, tag them so that in the next 15 minutes, by the time we're getting on, at least the person can get something, right? Tag anyone, right? In the comment section, or share this link, all right? This is not the main sex conversation class. This is the classes for the master classes for the sex conversation, Sex Educate Your Child Like a Pro, is starting on the 30th of this month. Immediately you register for Sex Educate Your Child Like a Pro, you get replay of Sex Educate Your Child Like a Pro 3.0. Let me see you if you have listened to Sex Educate Your Child Like a Pro 3.0. What did it do to you? Let me see you. And if you've not registered for Sex Educate Your Child Like a Pro, put a yes. See, this 6999 changes in 24 hours. If you want to grab that offer, this offer started at 399. It's on 699. By 24 hours, it moves to 799. See, even if you pay 15.99, it is still a good offer because the 3 books we're giving you for free is worth 15,000 naira. And yet you're actually having access to them for free. So if you have not registered, this is your time to take advantage of this. If you're watching us and you're watching us on YouTube, all you need to do is to get the details on the screen, make payment now so that you don't also get off this offer. If you are off this offer by tomorrow, you won't see this offer again. And you will not get those books. See, you need to actually put your children at an advantage. Your children are disadvantaged if you're not talking. Your children are disadvantaged if you're not talking. So put in the comment section, yes. And a team member's retreat, how much? Don't get it. 6,999 is the fee. You are paying it instead of 15,999. And this offer is only valid for the next 24 hours. In 24 hours, this offer is off. And with this 6,999, you actually get three books, 3 solid books that you can use now, today. You get access to master class of Sex Educate Your Child 3.0. And Sex Educate Your Child 3.0 already happened. You get a replay of it. You can start replaying it today, not tomorrow. And then you still get live master classes starting on the 30th of this month. And you're not having to pay any other thing again. For 699, that's a steal. For you to come and learn the things. See, most of the things that we're teaching our children about sex conversation is heart-wrenching. I said that our parents, Augustine said, the parents of their time was that these old parents were not mentors, they were tormentors. Now, let me say this to us. Even though we have come up with trying to say, oh, our parents didn't do a good job, put me anywhere, we are repeating the same thing our parents have done. Somebody is asking, why is it bad to give a child a phone? That's a long conversation, right? I need you to go and watch our video on YouTube called At What Age Should I Give My Child a Phone? I think that will give you a lot of insight. So all you need to do is to pay 6,999 and then you get access to all of these specs. Every single one of them. And you do not need to pay again just to actually have access. All right. So let me quickly run. We said strong inner voice. So we said children they need identity. They need stronger than its peer validation. You need to instill self-worth from home. See, if you don't instill self-worth in your children from home, they will get self-worth from predators. Do you know that self-worth is one of the tools that predators actually use in getting your children? Self-worth. Most of our children, their self-worth is bad. So by the time they get to us, they get outside, somebody just reaffirms them. Chakam, they say. And everything just goes. Another thing you need to give them is safe adult network. Every child should have at least 3 adults they can report to anytime, apart from you. 3 adults they can report to anytime, apart from you. And this is very, very important. All right? This is very, very important. If you are not that adult that they can report to, your child is going to struggle. Okay? And lastly, sex conversation. You must have age-appropriate sex conversation. Join Sex Educate Your Child Like a Pro now so that you can learn what to do. It's practical to build these threads intentionally, practically, right? And also be able to achieve them. There are over 6,000 parents as of today who have joined Sex Educate Your Child Like a Pro. Join us and be part of the movement. Details of how to register is on my screen. Details of how to register is on our bio. Please get in now. If you're on TikTok, just send us a DM and we will send you all of the details on how to register, or find us on Instagram or any other place and send us a DM, or just use in the details that you can see the numbers and send us details, and we would attend to you. Thank you again for joining us today. It's been an awesome time. All right, we'll see you again on Monday. Don't forget, by 5 o'clock today, we go live at Father's Conference. We'll still come live and tell you about Father's Conference in a bit. Do not miss it. Thank you so much, and do have an amazing day.